Welcome to Cultivated Conversations. I'm your host, Jen Proctor, and thank you so much for being here with us today. Today's episode is fire. It's with one of my very good friends, Jennifer Walker, and I had the pleasure of having her as a guest on the first iteration of Cultivated Conversations. When I was churning up guests and thinking of who I wanted to come on to this second iteration, she was the very first person that came to mind. She is a total badass. She co-founded and runs an agency called Walker Drawas, and some of their clients range from companies like Revolve, Kemosabe, Barker Wellness, and she just launched a new venture with Cardi B. Let's welcome her back to Cultivated Conversations, Jen Walker. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, gals and guys, you know her, you love her, I know her, I love her. Welcome, Jen Walker.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Oh my gosh, are you kidding? I'm so happy to have you here. I think in the conceptualizing of the relaunch of this, I'm like, there's no one else that I could imagine like getting back into the saddle with than you, because when we recorded 5 years ago, obviously we had been friends for quite a bit at that moment. And now it's like, fast forward 5 years, we're both moms. We're both still killing it or at the top of our game, taking it a day at a time.
It's been a wild 5 years.
But anyways, tell us, who is Jen Walker? Also want to hear a little bit about Walker Drawas and what you guys are up to.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm Jen Walker. I have been in the PR brand marketing business for a lot of years, and I don't want to age myself, so I'm not going to tell you how many. But
you just turned 25. No.
Yeah. We actually, my agency, Walker Drawas, is at its 10-year anniversary this year.
Amazing.
Which feels like it was yesterday. It's amazing how time flies, as you know.
Yes.
But I started my career in New York, just pounding pavement, running in heels, Devil Wears Prada, the whole thing. As you would imagine it, it is exactly like that.
Sure is.
And I moved to LA, I think it was like 2013, and started the business in 2015 and met my business partner, Adam Drawas. And our company, Walker Drawas, is a full brand marketing agency. My business partner's part of the business is rooted in celebrity, which you know something about.
Yeah, a few things.
And then my side of the business is really heavily focused on earned media, paid media, media strategies. And then together we work on very high-level 360-degree strategies that include experiential marketing, social integration, paid media, paid celebrity programs, et cetera. So we really offer our clients a lot of brand strategy services, which I think is what kind of sets us apart from a lot of traditional PR agencies or traditional like celebrity dressing agencies, where we kind of offer a bunch of different opportunities.
I feel like we're so much the same. Like, while we do very different businesses, one, there's so much overlap, but two, we also wear a lot of hats, right? And I think that's a reflection of obviously who we are. We don't ever want to be bored. I know you well enough to know that Jen Walker could never be bored.
I don't.
She would go crazy. Yes. But there's this emergence and convergence and connection happening in the larger entertainment and media industries, I think, in a big way than it ever has before, right? Like, when you and I started our careers, there was the advertising agencies and the marketing agencies, and right? And it was all these like linear sectors of, the entertainment and media industries. Yeah. And now it's like brand and television and celebrity, right? It's all coming together. So I think I'd love to hear your POV on, one, what sort of the last 5 years, and we'll get into some of those, like the crazy shit that went down in the last 5 years, but just what have you seen in these industries in the last, few years, 5 years, 10 years since you started? And we'll start there, but then I also want to know like where you think it's going to.
Oh, well, if I'm looking at the different categories, there's the business and the services, and those are all kind of merging together, which I'll get to. But there's also, like media, which I'll start with because that's my area of expertise, right now what we're seeing, and it's very interesting, and it's a lot of political in the political category that we're seeing this emerge in the last couple of years, but also in other categories like fashion and music, et cetera, where the reporting has now really started to merge creators with independent reporters.
Totally.
And so traditional media, digital, broadcast, et cetera, cannot break stories as fast as the independent creator media can. And so that is really interesting because now we have this crossover of who are creators and who are actual reporters, and how are they breaking news and how are they presenting it and how are people absorbing it, and in what speed are people expecting to receive this information. So the amount of time it takes a reporter at any traditional media news outlet to write a story, fact check a story, and publish it, these independent reporters are actually able to break news 10 times faster in real time because they don't have to fact check. They don't have any of those regulations around them. They don't have to edit a story. And they're just basically putting an iPhone up and reporting it as they're receiving information. Not to say that all of it's reliable, and there's a lot of misinformation out there, but it is a really interesting crossover that we're seeing between creators and media. So that's something I'm really paying attention to. And that's also something I feel like a lot of public relations agencies aren't really paying attention to yet. And we should be. We should be figuring out, how are we pitching these independent media outlets? How are we getting information? Who's covering what? And who's absorbing that information?
Well, the rise of the creator is absolutely mind-blowing. And that, like, I actually hadn't even thought of it in that way, but you're right. I mean, most of the news and information I get is
on TikTok or on Instagram.
Yeah, just like watching people's stories, watching what they post. And I think on my side of the business, like the more traditional television and entertainment side, who needs these big networks anymore? Because, you have 1 million or 5 million or however many followers. You can just go and create whatever the hell you want to create, get a brand to pay you some money for it, and buy, right? So there's this huge inflection point stemming from the influencer, which they hate to be called. So the creator, right?
Right. Independent media has been coined. And they use social, Substack, Instagram, TikTok to get their messages out there.
Yeah.
So a lot of them still write, and they write on Substack, or they contribute to some of these outlets, and they are journalists.
Yeah.
So there's still an integrity there, but they're actually creators.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. And this is, again, I'm seeing it a lot in politics, especially with the past election, and it's all bubbled up and they've gained all these followers. Yeah. But I'm also seeing it in entertainment. There's a lot of independent media doing interviews, podcasting.
Oh, totally.
Has become a whole industry on its own.
Yeah.
So it's a crossover between, when we're looking at target lists, as we do in PR, and we're looking at which outlets and what kind of exposure are we using for different launches or breaking news. Which levers are we pulling, and how can we utilize this new category of media that hasn't really been tapped yet?
Well, and so let's talk a little bit about how you measure this category, right? Because I go through it day in and day out, right? There's softwares and there's apps and there's all these things where you can measure someone's engagement and their audience and their demographic and all this stuff, right? But I think there's still also this immeasurable or intangible value, right? And I don't even know how to explain it. It's like there's a buzz about someone, or it's really interesting, like when someone's trending or when something is happening and it's like someone's hot at the moment. How do you think that that's being measured?
Well, for me, I work with brands. I work with people too, but I usually work with brands and people, like a talent-led business. But with brands and CEOs and investors specifically, the normal way of measuring impressions, ad value, et cetera, doesn't really mean anything to them because it's kind of like
it's just a bunch of data and
fluffy
facts,
numbers that you can't really track.
Yeah.
And so I think it actually helps the cause when you're working with creators because there is so much legitimate data that you can get from creators based on the traction that you get. Now, the issue is getting insight on if we're breaking news with a creator who isn't obligated to give us their
statistics.
data.
Yep.
What we can track is the clicks that are going into a website or going into a social media or gaining in social media followers, et cetera, that's coming from that creator on our end, on the brand's end.
Yeah.
But what we don't get access to is their
numbers.
engagement unless they're being paid.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's kind of the challenge there. But I think those are, it's definitely more trackable than us saying, oh, you got this article and we think that 1 million people read it.
Well, and let's talk a bit about, because you said unless they're being paid, right? So I want to kind of break down, because obviously we both do this. And I know Adam, your partner, deals with it a little bit more. But there is this, hey, for a brand, let me send you this candle, right? And the hope is that this person posts about it.
Yeah.
And we see that all the time, right? Unboxing videos of people with all of their things. But they could be getting paid. We don't know. But talk to us a little bit about how you see it on the brand side, right? How do brands spend their money or their marketing budgets and allocate those spends towards talent collaborations and partnerships?
I think it needs to be multi, and this is what we always recommend to our clients, is that you need to go a bunch of different avenues. And it also depends on the product too. So,
and what you're trying to get to, what the end result
and
is,
what your
I guess.
goal is.
Yeah.
Everything
Yeah.
is goal driven.
Yeah.
So I think it really just depends. But we always say, like, do an unpaid program where we do send out a product to people that we think are going to
Post about it and want it.
Want it. We don't ever send anything out blindly. So the talent, whether it's a creator or a celebrity or whoever it is, has to want to have that product. And we make sure then they know it's coming. And, the hope is that they like it so much that they post. We always tell our clients there's no guarantee. And if it really resonates with that person and they think it's going to resonate with their audience. I think that creators are savvy enough to know that when brands are testing. So they're going to start by gifting first and seeing if they get a reaction from that person's audience.
Yep.
And if they convert or they see a lift, then maybe that's going to result in a bigger relationship in a paid capacity. And that's how they test, because it's like dating before you get married. And so I think if it's a product that someone wants to get behind or wants to grow a relationship with, it's in their best interest to do a story.
Give them a solid.
Give them a little tag.
Yeah.
Give them a little tag.
Put out a few zeros, to your bank account.
Right, but I also think on
right.
their side too, like, they have to test their audience too and see if their audience reacts to the product and see if they can make some money off of it. And at the end of the day, everybody's just trying to make money. I think there's a want and a need for it to be authentic, for sure. But that's always the end goal. And a paid relationship, that's when we tell our clients, look, like, you have a certain product launching on a certain time at a certain time. You need a guarantee that the right message is going to come across and the right tags are going to be used. And if you want that guarantee, then you have to contract that, because somebody could post about your product and get it all wrong. And you're going to be upset.
Totally.
So if you want to tell someone the exact messaging with a link, and you want to see the data, then you have to pay someone to do that.
I want to go back to a word that you just said that I feel like is in every conversation, which is authenticity, right? I find myself admittedly using it on so many, pitch calls or new client calls, because it's true, right? We're all scrolling all day and we can tell, right? Even the dumbest of folks out there can tell when someone is being paid to do something or they're not authentically leaned in. So what are some of the ways that you currently are advising or doing, right, to sort of make that come through? And how do you see the future, right? It can't all be fucking authentic. Or can it? I don't know.
I honestly think it just depends on the person. And the product. Like, I think it's the relationship that is. Like, I'm working right now in a lot of different categories, like, that are very specific. Like, my background is fashion. Fashion is a bit of a broad stroke, if you will.
Yeah. Especially now, right?
Right. There's so much, and everybody has different styles, whatever. But now I'm working in categories more in wellness, where there's actually specific ailments that people are trying to solve. Menopause. This is a very personal issue that people are really looking to creators or authorities or doctors or experts for advice for free on social media. And so there's this trust and relationship that needs to happen between the creator and a product if they're going to recommend it to an audience as something that's going to help them.
Yeah, there's an intimacy factor to
there,
it,
and
sure.
there's a legitimacy issue there.
Totally.
So I think, again, like fashion, like wear this jacket, look at how cute this is one
love
conversation.
These shoes, right? Yeah.
Anyone can say love these shoes.
Yeah.
But not everyone can say, hey, I had this
supplement
gut health problem and this is how I fixed it. This really works. Trust me that it works. It'll change your life.
Yeah.
Like that's a different message.
Totally.
So I think that's where we're seeing a lot of authenticity. But I also think, even with fashion and beauty, it's like if you see a creator or a talent, who has a certain style and then all of a sudden like going way outside of what their audience is used to, they're going to flag that. Like the consumer is very savvy.
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about some of the ways that you see brands doing things differently, right? And shaking it up, like risks that they're taking.
Wow.
I see you thinking.
Risks are hard for brands.
Yeah. I know.
Risks are really...
But you sort of have to take risk right now, right? No?
I wouldn't call it risks. I would call it tests.
Okay.
And I think that is, over the last couple years, we've seen a lot of brands actually being more and more cautious because of worldly events, budgets, et cetera. I think we saw a lot more risk-taking happening pre-COVID.
Sure. Yeah.
And now I think it's more cautious and testing markets as they should. I think that's like a smart strategy instead of just diving headfirst into something that they think they should be doing.
Yeah.
And wasting a bunch of money and it not working.
Yeah.
So that I would say, we see a lot more, as I said before, a lot more like dating before marrying. And
Totally.
we're seeing a lot of, cautiously testing in like social media strategies, like ad buying, et cetera. So I think content is an area that people are constantly playing with.
Yep.
I'm not seeing a lot of risk taking in experiential. I don't think we're seeing anything disruptive there. And I honestly think that experiential has... No, I haven't seen it fully recover since COVID. Literally
was going to be one of my next questions, right? Because I think that was such a big part, and still is, right, of your business and your model. And I think the world that we lived in before COVID was so different. So let's talk about how that changed, right? And how the industry has been recovering.
Yeah. It's been a really hard road. Yeah. Obviously that industry got hit so hard with COVID when everything got shut down. And I think people started digesting experience differently than in person.
100%.
So people in those 2 years that we were all in COVID prison, we were digesting information and experiencing things virtually. And I think there's certainly a hunger for, we came out of COVID, it was wild.
Yeah.
Like everyone was like, we're back, baby.
Yeah. Let's fucking go.
Fucking go. Let's spend a shit ton of money. Everybody just wants to party and be together. There was a hunger to be social.
Yeah.
So we actually saw like a huge boom in experiential out of the gate. 2022 was lit.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden in 2023, everybody went, whoa.
Yeah.
We don't want to spend any money on this.
Right.
It's expensive. It's risky. And I think the economy was really scaring people at the time. And then the strike shut a ton of events down.
Yeah.
And then we went into election year, which was last year. And I think that election year is always going to be a bit of a freeze.
Yeah.
So I I think that has been a huge roller coaster, and I'm just this year seeing it start to pick back up.
Yeah.
Where brands are like, we need to activate, we need to get back in real life. And obviously, social and digital is all very important to that strategy.
Yeah.
But I think brands are more and more now saying, hey, like, you have to look and feel our product. You have to come into our world. We want to bring you into our world so it's authentic, so that you have a connection to it.
Totally.
And that, I think, was really suffering from like 2023 to 2025.
Well, and I think people look at their lives and their time in a different way, right, than they did before COVID. Like, I feel like we've talked about this, like in our friend circles too. But, you know, I used to be stacked on stacked on stacked, like 6 weeks, 2 months out, right? Where, you know, you text be like, Jen, you want to go get a drink? I'm like, sure. How does June look? You know? Yeah. And it's a gentle dance. And I think everyone, everyone just still feels like they're a little bit on eggshells, right? And there just always seems to be all this stuff flying at us the last 5 years. Like, I don't know that we know what normalcy is, but I do know that there's this added appreciation for like your home and your space and sort of, oh, I can do all of these things from my couch or from my desk. And that's like very interesting, you know? Because you and I come from a generation, and like, God, we sound so old, but we're not, but where all you did was go out, right? And as someone who is an employer of young people, and I know you are too, it's a very different
very
thing.
Different vibe.
And I think it's just really, really interesting, like how the socialness of our society as a whole, right? Especially living in a city like Los Angeles or New York. So anyways, I don't know if you have any thoughts or if you've seen anything different just at large.
Yeah, I mean, I truly believe, and this is science, that, you know, humans are social beings. Like, we need to be social.
Yeah.
From a professional perspective, networking is invaluable. Invaluable. Like, being in person, face to face with people. Zoom is incredible. And trust me, I like to push as much to Zoom as I possibly can.
1,000%. You have your list that's like, this is a Zoom meeting, this is an in-person meeting.
But when I look at those meetings, like, the in-person ones are always much more productive.
I know.
And I get asked this question by young people all the time about my career and what's the most important thing for them to do, and it's to network. Like,
1,000%.
Your Rolodex, the people that you meet, the relationships that you have, those don't get nurtured over Zoom. Those get nurtured in real life. And I feel like it's the same relationship with brands and their consumers.
1,000%.
So as much as we can do digitally is amazing, but I truly, and I always have said to clients and believed that activation in person is so, so important.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, I hope that we will see more of that coming. Coachella is like a big benchmark for us. And the last 2 years with Coachella have been like dead.
Yeah,
you know, brands just like haven't wanted to spend the money. It's very expensive. And this year it's like gangbusters. It's like everybody wants to be at Coachella this year because it is the one cultural moment in the US where you have the most amount of creators, celebrities, artists, media in one place in a condensed amount of time.
It's true. Yeah. And everybody just after the year that we've had, I think, just want to
everyone wants to forget about it. We need a bad, depressing year to like everybody want to
let me just
get
forget
out
who
I
am and where I am, you know, for 1 week. Yeah. A weekend. Yeah.
Let me just have fun for 1 week. Like, let me just have this if I can't have anything else.
Totally. So let's talk a little bit about, you know, running a business, growing a business, and what are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned along the way, and, you know, any advice that you might have for people?
I always say it's the 3 B's.
Okay.
Which are
boobs. No.
Well, balls are one of them.
Balls. Okay. Great.
It's brand, budget, and balls. So you have to know your brand. You have to build your brand, and you have to be your brand. And I think that's number one. Like, your reputation, your service, your product, whatever it may be, is like king.
Yep.
You have to know your budget. And I think that kind of comes back to the risk and the testing part of the conversation. But, you know, what I do see is a lot of mistakes being made is overspending when you can't, or your expectations being very off. And so understanding how much things cost and how much you have to spend is really, really important. And balls. I think
big balls.
Big balls.
Yep. Yes.
Big balls.
Yeah.
Like, it takes big balls to start a business, run a business, maintain a business, and whatever industry you're in. And so it's a no fear mentality of, you know,
adapting, changing.
Fake it till I make it. Adapting, changing. I think we have so much PTSD from 2020 and COVID and like thinking that the world was going to end. Like literally everyone's going to die. To coming out of that and now, you know, fielding worldly events that are current and like kind of always going back to that place. Like sometimes I wake up now and I'm like, okay, I remember being pregnant in 2020 and I think so that was like 5 years ago. So we were like 5 years old at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, and when you start a business, 5 years is not that old.
No, I know.
That's like your make or break point.
Yeah.
Either you're going to survive or you're not.
It is. 5 years is like that mark. Yep.
So at 5 years and I was pregnant, I was sitting there and I'm single mom, as you know. So I'm sitting there like single mom pregnant.
Like, what the fuck am I, like, what is going to happen?
Is this all going to implode? And what will happen if it does? And that was a terrifying feeling. Yeah. But so it's hard not to always go back to that place.
Yeah.
But we got through it. And it also gives you a bit of confidence knowing that you'll get through whatever is thrown at you too. Yeah.
Well, and figuring out those different paths, right? I think I remember the first 30 days of COVID and same, right? I was pregnant as well. Jen and I's
pregnancy path.
Our pregnancy path. Yes. We're very intertwined. We had like right around the same time. But sitting there on my couch, pregnant, just thinking, holy fuck, like, where is money going to come from? How am I going to do this? How am I going to support my employees? Right. And having absolutely zero answers because you couldn't even go outside. And then fast forward, it actually turned out to be like the biggest year I had ever had in business because very quickly the industries adapted and it's like, all right, like, let's just figure this out. And I think we were also able to do so much more because we weren't driving all over fucking town, you know? And like, I don't want to contradict what we were just saying about the value and importance of being in person because there truly is nothing, you know, and networking, but there also is something about time. Yes. Yeah. And there just isn't enough time and being able to jump from a meeting with people that are in the UK on Zoom to 20 minutes later, you know, being on a Zoom with someone who's in New Zealand, like it is pretty magnificent. And then for me, the strikes, right? And I know you and I as friends have had a lot of conversations, but for me as a business owner, COVID was hard, but the strikes were even harder because it was just, there was nothing that I could do about it. And as an entrepreneur, you mold, you change, you figure it out, right? You keep climbing the ladder, you keep like tearing down the walls or whatever you have to do. And I felt like a sitting duck. There was literally nothing that I could do. It was so beyond me and my business. And that was one of the hardest years of my life, like just trying to figure that out, right? Now looking back, I mean, it was just a couple of years ago, but I'm actually, you know, I'm always a silver lining person, but I'm actually grateful for that experience because it really was the first time that I had to, you know, my business was only getting bigger and growing and I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about what I value. I learned a lot about what's important. Where do I want to take the business? How am I going to pivot, right? And so I think like in all of this that we've all experienced in the last 5 years, I think we have learned some of that stuff.
For sure. And like those forced pauses sometimes can be a bit, even though financially challenging.
I know, but it's hard to enjoy them, right?
Well, no, I'm not saying you should enjoy them.
You know,
but in hindsight, because you're through it now, it's like we move so fast.
Right.
And it's almost like having a time to breathe and actually look at things.
Totally.
Come up with new ideas. I mean, you're resurrecting this.
I know.
Yeah. So having like a little bit more time on your hands, even though you don't want it, that way
Yeah.
can sometimes be beneficial. So I think when you're in it and it's scary, you always have to remember that there's something on the other side.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And here we are.
And, we've had a tough couple years for all of those reasons as well. And what we were just discussing with the experiential. But, it's like anything else. The pendulum swings one way, it's going to swing the other way at some point. It can't always stay on the other side.
So one of the things we want to talk about with all the guests is the word joy, right? Which is a little bit of a cheesy or trite word. But I think like you and I are both lucky to, one, lead incredible lives, have, beautiful children. I mean, we've busted our asses to get here, right? But where do you find that joy in what you do? Is it like a specific moment in a project or a specific part of the process? Like, what are those, like, when you get those kind of like excited moments, right, in your day to day?
Well, I think because my part of the business and what I do is so public. Like, it's my job to show the world what brands are doing. So whether that's an event or a product launch or a business merger or whatever it is, it's my job to tell the world what's happening. And I love pop culture. Pop culture is like I live and breathe it. So for me, what makes me excited and the joyful moments are always like when I can create a pop culture moment that like goes viral.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yes.
yeah.
Like totally.
And I think also there's a part of it that's like I made people happy, and whether that's through whatever medium or category that is, whether it's entertainment or it's fashion or it's beauty or it's wellness or whatever it is.
Yep.
Like I'm either helping people I'm getting the word out and helping people. I'm making people happy through art. I'm making people happy through entertainment. And it's like people see it. And so like that's always so gratifying. And that's why I do what I do. It sucks. Like it's not glamorous all the time. It's not fun. It's very hard. It's extremely stressful. There's a lot of pressure. But when it all comes together, and I do have this phrase that I use with all my staff. And it is a motto that I tell, I think my agency kind of lives by, which is it's PR, not ER.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yep.
We all have to remember that it's going to be okay.
I feel like I have to do a lot of that too.
Yeah.
Similar. It is because people get so wound up.
Well, it's so important too.
It is.
Like when things are public facing, it's really important. It's really important that things are done right.
And when they're spending big budgets on it.
They're spending big budgets.
Yes.
There's a lot of pressure internally from a lot of these brands. And so when you get like a high anxiety client who's putting the pressure on you, it's like, and you're like, I know you're stressed. I understand. I'm stressed as well. But like, it's all going to be okay. You know, we're going to get there.
Yeah.
So it's just staying calm. But that's the joy is when I really see these like big cultural moments that happen that like motivate me and keep me going. Because I'm like, ooh, I just like had a moment.
Yeah.
Even though no one knows it was me.
Yeah, I know. Behind the scenes.
Like that was a moment and that was talked about and like that went viral.
I did that.
It's
I
cool.
know. Yeah, it is. It is. What is something that you still have on your to-do list?
Oh my God, everything.
That's a great answer. That's a great answer.
Everything. Oh my God. I have so much growth. I mean, I want to open a New York office. We have team members now in London, Canada, Australia. I want to grow those markets. There's side projects that I'm working on that I'm really, really excited about. There's tons of stuff personally that I would like to do. Like I want to one day have a rescue ranch for horses and dogs and just live there and be happy.
Yes. Yep.
Away from the rest of the world.
Same. Yep.
That's definitely on my checklist. But yeah, no, there's so much on my to-do list. And I feel like it never stops growing.
That's great. That's great.
I don't think I'll get to all of it in my lifetime, but
hey, if anyone will, you will.
Away.
Yeah,
we're chipping away at it. So,
I think there's one thing that I love about you so much. I mean, there's so many things, but one thing in particular is, you are always a yes person.
That is
like
true.
You really are always a yes person. You're
true.
always down. You're always like ready for an experience, right?
Yes.
And I think like, it's we all have a lot of friends, but and life gets in the way, and you have kids, and you have all these things, right? But I really admire that about you, like what a yes person you are, and how you just, you show up, and it shows, right? That's why you are where you are and doing what you're doing, because so. To being a forever yes woman.
person.
Cheers with our waters. I know I should have poured you some rosé, but sorry about that. Yeah. Well, Jen, I love you. I love you. I love our friendship and having you in my life. I feel like I've learned so much from you. I feel like everyone listening absolutely learned so much from you today. And thank you for coming back. Tell everyone, where can we find you? Where can we see what you're up to?
Yeah, so my company is Walker Drawas. We're www.walkerdrawas.com. We're at Walker Drawas on Instagram. I'm Jennifer Walker at _Jennifer_Walker_. There's a lot of Jennifer Walkers out there, okay?
I remember you went through a phase where you changed your handle 4 or 5 times.
I was trying to find my way.
Yeah.
But we've
arrived.
Yeah.
We're here.
I haven't figured out TikTok yet. I am on there, but I don't want anyone to find me.
Okay, it's fine. I get it. Yeah.
I'm there for the scroll.
It's intimidating.
I'm there for the scroll.
Yeah.
I am not a creator. So there's that. But that's where you can find us. And yeah, we just, when you see a little something, maybe just be like, oh, maybe that was Jen Walker.
Okay. Cool. I love it. And that's a wrap on another episode of Cultivated Conversations. I'm your host, Jen Proctor. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Please please subscribe. You can find us at Cultivated Entertainment, and send us an email, hello@cultivatedent.com. We want to hear from you. What did you like? What did you not like? What do you want to hear more of? Who do you want to see on the show? Can't wait to hear from you, and thanks for listening in.